Hello there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and whatever your device, and welcome back to yet another video on the channel. Now, if anybody asks me who my favorite musicians are, one name I'll always say is Cocomelon. Shit! Now, if anybody asks me who my favorite musicians are, mu- music, mu- musicians, mu- music, musicians are, musicians are, one name I'll always say is Polyphia. They are an instrumental progressive rock group, also known more widely as math rock, based in Plano, Texas, and their music is almost perfect for me. However, I got into Polyphia only maybe a year or so ago, and really, the only music of theirs that I've listened to countless times is their last release, New Levels, New Devils from 2018. We're still waiting for album 4. That really captures the math rock sound perfectly. And their previous release, the more electronic influenced EP, The Most Hated. No, that's the name of the EP, The Most Hated. I don't hate it. So I decided to listen to their older stuff, and that honestly I never dwelled into because I just don't like that era of Polyphia aesthetically at all. Their album covers, music videos, their look, even their older guitars, everything aesthetically. I just don't like it all. Even though I'm a music YouTuber, I do care quite a bit about how good your album cover looks. I mean, just look at how good this is, and then look at how good this is. There's a clear elevation, like in the levels. Like seriously. So today, putting all that aside, I'm going to be listening to their older stuff, to be precise, their very first EP called Inspire, and tell you my thoughts and opinions, give a score to every track, and then rank the entire project, like all the songs. Like yeah, I'm going to rank the entire thing. Now all these album reviews of mine, this is the second one on the channel. They're all much more produced because my editor edits these, not me. And these are all scripted. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm reading a script that took me quite some time to write, quite a good number of hours, and I had to listen to the entire album as well. So yeah, hit that subscribe button if you like videos like this, and motivates me to make more videos. And comment down below what you think about this if you're still around by the end of the video. So without any more beating around the bush, here is my review of a Polyphia EP from 8 years ago, before they were signed to a label, before they had properly found their sound, and they had a much smaller fan base, when they still had their old drummer. I'm still beating around the bush, aren't I? Number of 5, Persevere. This starts off with very power metal drums and very clear shredding guitar playing where it's just super fast and combining scales, but it's not the good type. It's that type that, to be honest, is actually not catchy or memorable as a melody, but it's just very fast. And then we get those rhythm guitars that dun dun dum 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 dum, that, to be honest, I really like in songs. But here I think it's just the context of these, and it's the way they've been EQ'd and mixed that just really rubbed me the wrong way. And then halfway through, which we have a solo, which I think is by the feature on this track, Aaron Marshall, which is obviously much more slower, much more emotional. That really is the highlight of this song. The rest of the guitar playing I can respect, but I don't really enjoy. So yeah, this track gets a 5 out of 10. And I also noticed that compared to the current music, I can barely hear the bass in the mix. The drums on this are decent, but are nothing special like with the other track on this EP, Ignite. So yeah, a 5 out of 10 for this. Quatre, Impassion. This track has pretty good drums, just like most of this EP. The guitars are decent. There are a lot of tasteful licks, but once again, most of it is just what I like to call show off music that isn't catchy or memorable. Like if you make technically skilled flexing music that is actually catchy and memorable, I don't have a problem. A perfect example is the two projects of theirs that I've listened to countless times: New Levels, New Devils, and their EP, The Most Hated. I gave this track a 6 out of 10. Ignite. So this track starts off with a rather simple piano melody that repeats throughout the track. It really screams 2013. Then it has some reverse cymbal like sounds coming in, and then the really reverbed but clean guitar tone that they still use in songs. After that, we have this really heavy, that is for Polyphia standards, guitars playing couple simple open chords, and then there's this repeated power chord, just like in the uh, fifth track. Number the track that I gave fifth place was Severe. One of those power chords once again going chun 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 chum chum. That I personally don't like it all once again. Then there's some variations with the guitar melody that still seem rather different from current Polyphia. There are no slides, harmonics, hybrid picking, or anything like that. Actually, that kind of makes this kind of bland as well. And then it ends with the piano track alone. So for me, this track's actually somewhat like disappointed. I don't hate it, but like it's just somewhat, dare I say, boring. Like I gave this track a 6.25 out of 10. The reason I gave it slightly higher than the other two is because they didn't drag it out of 5 minutes and just make it a huge riff salad. This is much better in that respect. And also the drums on this track are great, or just as good as current drums, except without all of the open and closed hi-hats and the triplet hi-hats. But they're pretty good, the drums. Dukes number two. Transcend. This track starts very similar to Persevere, but there's much larger range in the note choice that actually keeps me listening. Next thing, very interesting, wah pedals. Exactly, they're using a wah pedal. That's the tone. This is my first time hearing Polyphia use the wah pedals. That's nice. The first 2 minutes of this song are great. You know, the guitars, the melodies, the everything. Then there's an interesting 1 minute of just electronic sounds with bare drums. I like that. Truly shows their prog influence. After the guitars get kind of monotonous. So if they cut out a good 1.5 minute of the end and just play the intro melody again, maybe I'd be giving this an 8 out of 10. That is a very good track. Now I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. So this is a good track. I like it. And finally, number one. God, that was really cringy, wasn't it? Inspire, the title track. This is quite similar to the Ignite instrumental wise. The guitars on this, however, have a different tone than the first two tracks of the EP and a very fresh new feel. Like it feels like a breath of fresh air, which is something I really like. The melodies are somewhat repetitive, but there's a very good section in the middle where they start playing chromatic and some notes off key. That makes it interesting, almost confusing you into thinking there's a key change, but I don't really think there is. There's some pretty decent rhythm and simple high note melodies over it for quite some time in this song. I feel like in this song, this is this or say this song is dragged out a bit. Like this is a problem I see with this whole EP. So if they cut out a good 2 minutes of the repetitiveness and made it 3 minutes and 25 seconds long, I would give the song a 7.75 out of 10. But now I'm just giving this a 7.25 out of 10. So taking all this into account, this album actually gets a rather disappointing 6.3 out of 10. Like for any other artist, this is an okay score. Like I gave the KSI album a 6 out of 10. Like his first album. But he's this YouTuber and he's making a full studio project of 12 songs, that too of a genre I don't listen to much, and still managed to get a 6 out of 10. Even though I gave some of those tracks much lower scores, like fours and fives. And that's exactly the problem with this EP. Every track almost sounds the same. Perhaps that's the reason why the scores just range from 5 to 7. Like, there's barely any difference at all. So that's why I'm going to take away a little more of its score and gave this album a 5.75 out of 10. Like this EP is legitimately disappointing. Like I expected, like, just like the other projects, I'd expect this to be like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10 tier thing. But nah, Polyphia started off rough. Like this is actually the disappointing EP. Like I don't even know why I'm disappointed. Like this is 8 years ago. The first EP, I love the current stuff, and just when I heard this, I was like, oh, like I was just thankful that I didn't get into Polyphia by listening to their earlier stuff, and instead I listened to their current stuff, which is much much better. So if anybody out there wants to get into Polyphia, please don't listen to this EP first. Instead, listen to great tracks such as Goat, Goose, Yas, Yes, and many more from their later releases. Like, please. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Maybe you didn't, because I was actually quite disappointed. But these are my honest thoughts. I never ever thought I'd say this about Polyphia, man. Sheesh. So I'm thinking about um, maybe reviewing their other projects as well. I'm not sure. Tell me down in the comments whether you want more Polyphia reviews, like full album reviews. And see you guys soon. Take care and peace. And please hit that subscribe button if you stay till the end. That means you're clearly engaged and entertained. And yeah, see you guys in a bit. Peace.